Hey, it's Jonathan Block. Welcome to this outtake edition of The Stumble. I'm in the Treehouse studio today, but when I sat down with Attorney General Alberto Gonzales and his wife Becky at his office at Belmont University in Nashville, my role was to ask questions and stay out of the way because the story belonged to them. And if you've listened to the two-part conversation, you know they have a hell of a story to tell of leadership, loss, and great, great love. But a few times during that afternoon, Judge and Becky Gonzales drew stories out of me that I have rarely shared. So this is an outtake bonus episode, 3 short moments from that afternoon in Nashville. The first is a story I told them that never aired. It's about the advice I didn't want from President Bush that changed my life. The second is about why I was raised speaking Old English at home. And the third is about what happened in childhood that led me to work for Attorney General Gonzales as an adult. Like part 1 of the conversation with the Gonzaleses, this episode touches on topics that may not be appropriate for all listeners. The Gonzaleses have a way of making the people around them feel safe and at ease. I even heard that from listeners through comments on social media after I aired the first 2 episodes. And it's the thing I noticed as I listened again. Even when it was their turn to be the on-the-record center of attention together for the first time in 19 years, they showed up with a rare grace and humility and intention that turned the tables and listened to their interviewer. Here's what I shared with them. When I went to say goodbye to President Bush and have my departure photo with him, I was at like a very young age, right? And so you get like a 5-minute departure photo. And I asked him, I said these words, "Mr. President, I'm a young pup leaving the White House. What should I do with my life?"
Really?
I did. And I was hoping that he would say, like, oh, I have the inside number to Harvard admissions right here. Call this number and you'll get in.
He would have said Yale, not Harvard.
But that is not what he did. He looked me in the eye and said, "Go serve on the front lines of compassion. Go and seek and do." My father was a social worker. He said, "Go follow your dad's footsteps." And out of that, about 10 years later, my wife and I became foster parents, and it changed our lives. That
And you adopted kids, right?
Yeah. We have three kiddos now.
That is so wonderful. That's great advice, and it gave me goosebumps when
it gives me goosebumps every time
when
I
he
hear
said it.
Yeah, I know.
Fun.
It's a good man.
Judge, in preparation for this discussion, Becky and I were on the phone. When she told me she had a Jewish mother and a Mormon father, my eyes kind of widened because my father is Jewish and my mother is Quaker, and which is also a very unusual combination.
Wow.
And so the version of Quakerism that I'm from speaks Old English at home.
I love it.
Like Hamlet.
Can you do
right?
it? Can you speak it?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. But I'm also half Jewish. And so at Hanukkah, we might say, "Hey, will thee pass the dreidel?" Or like, is that if it's Passover, it's, is that stack of matzah thine or is it mine?
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that.
When I was looking for roles in the Bush administration, I interviewed a number of cabinets, and I was molested when I was young. And the fact that you had started Project Safe Childhood and had an eye out for kids to keep them safe was really important to me. And it's one of the things that drew me to working at the Department of Justice and to working for you specifically. So thank you for what you did there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.